Okay, so,
Good evening, Renee.
Hi.
Good evening.
all right. Alan, you are a voting member at this point in time because we don't have 5 members at this point in time. So,
Very good.
okay, we'll see what happens as we go along. First item on the agenda, which is going to be a pretty short meeting, I think, tonight. There's not too much on our agenda. First item is the minutes of the previous minutes of August 20th. I had no problems with the write-up.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of August the 20th as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second from Alan. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are you abstaining
I
because
abstain.
of?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see what we got next here on our agenda. Old business, now we pretty much took care of that last meeting. New business. Nobody came in to talk to us, so we're down to correspondence and minutes of other meetings, boys. I know my packet didn't have the minutes printed out, so I had to go online to get them. I don't know if anybody else has done it, but
Oh, yeah.
I got them, so I'll go through some highlights here from the Board of Selectmen's meeting of August 3rd. One of the first announcements made by our first selectman was that the town's AAA has been reaffirmed by Standard & Poor's. That's their highest rating. So our financial status in the lending community looks pretty damn good. I like that.
Steve continues to do a great job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then they went into the Lower Federal Road DOT project, which we've discussed a few meetings back.
Yep.
And it looks like we had the discussion with that little piece of the land's going to be done by the old Wagon Wheel Restaurant. I don't know, it was Mom and Jay
House.
It's going to be called Wagon Wheel Way. They got that
Wagon Wheel Way.
Wagon Wheel Way, that little.
That's what we supposed it might have been.
Yeah, we thought it would be. So they are asked the state to let them name that little piece Wagon Wheel Way and get the right of way going at 316 Federal Road. Let's see, they also went for a steep application for redesigning the town hall offices in response to Corona pandemic. And they also were looking at it for the Still River Greenway Trail. So they decided, they decided to table the item because they couldn't decide which one to do. Had a discussion of 5G technology. And let's see, motion amendment. I guess our health director was a little concerned about what it would do to us. And
So, Mr. Chairman, just to confirm, if you want to talk about that in this segment or in the informal discussion, I don't know.
Let's talk about that in informal.
Okay.
Okay. And then down a little bit further is the employee changes. New position, Diane Ing is now the secretary to the police administration. And while we're talking about Diane, I want to thank her for all the service she's given us over the past years. I think that she did a very nice job of supporting us.
Here, here.
A big help.
Here, here.
And we have a new land use assistant going to help us. Her name is Christine Murphy. I haven't met her yet, but we hope she can follow well the steps that Diane has.
Exactly.
And the center school ad hoc committee's got somebody we know on it.
I am a member, yes.
There's some guy named Bruce McDonald.
There you go.
Doesn't have a D in the last of his name. His
Yeah.
name was spelled wrong.
Yeah, well,
But other than that,
we put in a year of effort.
It must be
We've
somebody
been-
that doesn't have a lot of time on their hands.
No, we've actually put in a year of effort, and the commission has been re-up for 6 more months. We tendered our findings to the Board of Selectmen, and we proposed, just to highlight, we proposed splitting the building between Park and Rec and the library. And when Steve gets back from vacation, we're gonna have a little sit down and review the 50-page document we put together. But the good news is, or the bad news as you look at it, is that our commission has been re-up for 6 more months, just to kind of wrap up and do some presentations to the various town boards and.
yeah, I see that. Well, and then there's another new commission that has been put into place called the COVID-19 Local Long-Term Recovery Committee. And Mel's wife has been appointed to that, Sharon.
Along with a few other people.
There he is.
There he is. So it looks like,
Mel, you're incognito.
For a little while, yes, I was.
Stealth mode. You're in stealth mode.
what we got, let's see, me, Bruce, Rennie. You could be a voting member too, because we only got 3 regular members, Mel.
There we go.
Like to have-
Okay, that was the minutes of the Board of Selectmen. I don't know if anybody else has read them, has other comments. Oh, you want to talk about it at informal, that's right. So
Yes,
we'll do that then. Zoning Commission had a meeting on August 13th. Let's see. Huckleberry School, they have some discussion on that. They still are in the design review and they haven't completed that yet, and they continue that on, activity on. They also talked about, which we are well aware of, the zoning regulation change Z 2066, which was the one where Ward Mizuko talked to us, the one about the 4 acre to 5 acre to 4 acre, 8 to 10 density. At this meeting, they were awaiting our input, and they got that at the last meeting. And let's see, what else? For some reason, the Brookfield Village, they made a motion to approve the color for blue gray color on the new buildings. That's wonderful. And what else? Elbow Hill, we also talked about that. They had our input on that. And they had an informal discussion on Brookfield Village Phase 3. And the informal discussion was possibly changing the retail limit from 9,000 feet to 4,000 square feet. Hasn't gone formally yet, but I think we had in the past that we like to have the higher numbers rather than the lower numbers. So we'll see how that works out. We'll keep an eye on it. That's the zoning commission minutes of August 13th. Anybody got a comment on that? If not, I'll move on to the zoning boards of appeals, which was basically typical residential issues. And that was pretty much business as usual for them. I got no comment on that at all. Okay. Why do I see a telephone sitting in front of me?
That's Ralph.
Well, that's Ralph.
He's not on
Yeah,
mute.
I called him tonight. Yeah, that's me.
He's
Okay.
breathing heavy into his phone, which
Oh,
Not quite. Gonna give me a bad reputation over there.
yeah. Okay, the correspondence, we replied back to zoning on the issue of the zoning change for which we just talked about a minute ago, which Ward Mizuko gave us the presentation on. I don't know what that is. Good. And then we also had the presentation, we also replied back on 19 Elbow Hill Road. That's the one where we had the presentation from, Neil Marcus. Okay, that was the correspondence. And we're moving right along on this agenda. It's going real quick. Informal discussion. Okay, Alan, you're on.
Next, Victor.
Can I just review what the 5G discussion was with regards to the selectmen's meeting?
Okay. You want me to review it again from the minutes?
Yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me pull them up. Okay, let's see. Dr. Raymond Sullivan and the selectmen discussed his letter of July 15th on the subject of 5G cell service and noted that the congressmen and senators should pressure the FCC. That's between what Dr. Sullivan and resident Jack Ludwig gave a PowerPoint presentation at the Board of Selectmen meeting on July 6th. It's very clear there are two sides that err on the side of science. They spelled air wrong, A-I-R. That's not really that one. Should be E-R-E. But the selectmen noted it doesn't appear that 5Gs on poles is harmful, but they should keep an open mind with further evidence it may change. After further discussion, Mr. Dunn stated that he would draft a letter to the FCC to look at this subject more carefully to make sure that the 5G technology is safe to be placed on poles in the community and that there is absolute proof beyond anyone questioning that it is safe. Dr. Sullivan agreed this is the correct path to take due to the controversy on the issue right now. At the conclusion of the discussion, Steve Dunn made a motion that the first selectman will create a letter for review by the Board of Selectmen along with the lines what was discussed at the meeting to submit to the FCC, which was that motion carried.
Thank
Okay,
you,
Alan?
Mr. Chair. Yes, the reason I asked you to read that is because, what I had performed in response to a request by Bruce was an analysis of the actual data that the email that I sent to yourself or copied to yourself and a response back to Bruce was that the international bodies that have actually done an analysis on 5G actually have stated that the various different the analysis is actually based on exactly the same criteria that has been done in the 2G, 3G, 4G historic
Predecessor technologies.
the technologies, exactly. And so what we're seeing is really a response, and I understand it. People are thinking about, they don't understand what exactly is going on, and I really didn't want to I really didn't want to have happen that here in Brookfield that we actually are taking a decision on the basis of let's say misunderstood data,
non-scientific based information.
Exactly. And so the email that I sent to yourselves, and forgive me, Renee, and to Mel, other members, with my radar engineering and electronic hat on, I really did looked at what we were doing. Why were we thinking that this was an issue? And there's a lot of false, science, or let's say misunderstood basis for any kind of decisions.
Exactly.
Bruce, I mean, your response to my email, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think maybe we need to talk as a board and give consideration to a letter or a document from the board that to the first selectman's office that kind of attempts to address this and put in perspective that, one, there are no, peer-reviewed double-blind studies that call into question anything pertaining to 5G. And more to the point that part of the reason for the technology, the fact that they are putting repeaters on every fourth telephone pole, is an indication of just how low powered the technology actually is.
Good point.
The media talks about,
Yeah.
well, we're going to be bombarded by satellites in space with 5G. Well, how do you contrast that with the fact that, people aren't putting repeaters on every fifth telephone pole because they want to expend $10,000, $15,000. It's because the technology just doesn't travel that far. The fact of the matter is, it's not that powerful. To your point, it's been studied vis-a-vis the prior 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G protocols supporting cell phone data transmission, and it just isn't that powerful, which is part of the challenge behind this, that it's so endemic that they're talking about populating every fourth or fifth telephone pole. So should we, as a body, consider, Mr. Chairman and the rest of the members of the board, some kind of a position paper that says we collectively, and if we haven't seen, the articles that Alan is alluding to and, the stuff that are out there, we can certainly send it around to people if we want to table it for maybe our next meeting. But should we contemplate potentially sending a letter from the board as a whole talking about, we've reviewed, if we can review and do review, the facts, the science behind the matter, and saying, look, calm down. Here are the facts. Here are the bona fide research papers supporting the low power technology of 5G, and the fact that we're not going to die from, no worse than any other cell phone technology as it matures and matriculates. Should we potentially consider doing something like that as a board?
Well, Bruce, I'll tell you what. I think tonight's obviously not appropriate because not everybody's even had a chance to take a look.
Exactly.
However, at the next meeting, I have no problem with this being brought up again. Because
Yeah.
you're going to be chairman that night, because I'm going to be up on the coast of Maine watching the waves
we
go
go.
back and forth.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. But I think as long as, again,
I have no problem with
I'm
that.
passionate. I have responded, for people that follow me on Facebook, I responded to a bunch of people, raising issues, not fact-based, surrounding 5G. And, potentially we could help the Board of Selectmen at least to reinforce, saying, here's the science, here are peer-reviewed studies published.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, because in this era that we're dealing with, there is so much fear, FUD, as an ex-IBMer, the market popular, that is speaking without the facts, and maybe we could help to, and if my peers on a board are willing to contribute and at least support it, if not contribute, potentially we could help set a trend for the town, saying, guys, this is just a normal evolution of technology. Please do read the science and for your own, and draw your own conclusions. But it's been around a while. It's not newly baked technology. You're not going to get brain cancer by using the technology. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bruce, thank you very much for your cogent, analysis there. I think the reality, and Mr. Chairman, I would say, yes, let's table this perhaps for next time. But I think the reality is that there's absolutely no difference between the power levels that are put forth in this technology than in the others. And so, I think what we would be doing is, if we put any kind of barriers in the way of this technology, we really need to understand the ramifications of that. All right. So, I'm pleased to, perhaps put a letter out to the, the Board of Selectmen after the next meeting. That seems to me good.
Absolutely.
We have enough data. We have enough ammunition to provide them with their ability to make a decision.
And as we say in the school board, data-driven decision-making. I mean, it comes down, the facts will set you free. And unfortunately, we live in a culture over the past 3.5, 4 years where science is discarded.
Stop there, Bruce.
Come on, Bruce.
I could sit on my soapbox for hours talking.
You might have put the dick in. You have to put the dick in, huh?
Is there anything else for informal discussion?
I have one question. Would you like me to put that under tabled items or informal discussion?
Uh,
Nothing right now.
Under tabled items,
Okay,
okay?
That makes sense.
thank
That'll
you.
make it a little stronger.
Yeah.
As
Thank
far
you.
as table items right now, we have nothing new to report on the plan of conservation and development.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything new on the Candlewood sewage study?
No, nothing.
Okay.
They haven't asked us to do anything with it either, It was an interesting report. I would think they would say, hey, let's do something about this, and then,
Yeah.
Were we tasked with actually doing something?
no, that's the whole point.
Absolutely.
They just said, here's our study.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And no movement on the
What,
the N.
we have another year or so before we have to update the plan of conservation and development again. At that point, if it's still relevant, we would absolutely incorporate
Include it.
their
Yeah.
findings.
Sounds good.
Okay? I'm ready for that motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Have a good holiday weekend.
You as well, Mr. Chairman.
See you in October.
Thank you all.
See you all in 2 weeks.
Good night.
Bye for now.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you, Alice.